You're worthless. You can't be relied on, my son-in-law Marcus shouted after I accidentally dropped the birthday cake. All the party guests stared at me. I took a deep breath, smiled calmly and replied, "Then why do you rely on me when you need money?" What happened next made me dial 911. Before we continue, first let me thank you for watching Granny's Voice. Please subscribe and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We might give you a shout out in our next video. Today's special shout out goes to Pat Allen from North Carolina. Thank you for being part of our family. Now, let me tell you everything. The pink frosting splattered across the kitchen floor like spilled paint. My granddaughter's 5th birthday cake lay in pieces, the unicorn decoration broken and sad. "Mom, what happened?" My daughter Lisa rushed into the kitchen, her face showing worry and shock. Behind her stood Marcus, my son-in-law, his eyes blazing with anger. The other parents from the birthday party crowded behind them, their children peeking around their legs to see the mess. "I slipped on some water," I explained quietly, kneeling to clean up the colorful frosting. "My hands are getting shaky these days." "I'm so sorry, sweetheart." "Sorry doesn't fix Emma's birthday party, Margaret," Marcus snapped, his voice getting louder. 20 kids are here expecting cake, and you destroyed it." Lisa bent down to help me clean up. "Mom, don't worry. We can drive to the bakery and get another cake." "Drive where?" Marcus laughed meanly. "It's Saturday afternoon. Everything good is sold out by now, you foolish old woman." One of the other mothers gasped. Another father stepped forward, frowning. "Hey now, that's not how we talk to family." But Marcus wasn't finished. He pointed at the ruined cake like it was the worst thing ever. "This is exactly what I expected from her. Everything she touches turns into a disaster." "Marcus, please stop," Lisa begged, reaching for his arm. But he pulled away from her. "No, Lisa. I'm tired of pretending your mother is helpful when she just causes trouble everywhere she goes." I stayed on my knees, picking up pieces of cake, feeling each word hurt like someone was throwing rocks at me. The kitchen got very quiet except for little Emma crying in the living room because her special day was ruined. "I said I was sorry," I repeated, trying to keep my voice steady even though I felt terrible inside. "I'll find a way to fix this. Maybe the grocery store has something." "Fix it how?" Marcus turned to face me completely, his face red with anger. "You think you can just throw money at every problem and make it disappear? Well, your checkbook can't save this party." The kitchen felt cold and unfriendly now. One of the dads finally walked over and turned off the oven that was still beeping. The smell of failure filled the air like smoke from a fire. "That's enough," another mom said firmly. But Marcus ignored her completely. "You know what your problem is, Margaret. You make promises you can't keep. You act like some kind of superhero, but when people really need you, you mess everything up." His words reminded me of something from long ago. All those times he called me when he was in trouble, when he needed help, when he needed someone to save him from his money problems. The unfairness of what he was saying hit me like lightning. "Reliable," I said quietly, but my voice was strong. "You want to talk about being reliable, Marcus?" Reliable. The word bounced around in my head as I looked at Marcus's angry face. Suddenly, I wasn't in the messy kitchen anymore. I was back in my small house in 2020, watching Marcus sit at my kitchen table with tears rolling down his cheeks. "I don't know what else to do, Margaret. The car loan company says we need $8,000 by Monday or they'll take our car away. Lisa doesn't know how bad our money situation is." His voice had cracked then, all his pride gone. I had written the check right away. $8,000 from my savings account, given without asking for anything back. "I'll never forget this," he had promised, holding my hands tight. "You're saving our whole family." But he did forget. Just 1 year later he was back at my door. "It's the rent money," he had explained, sitting in my living room and looking embarrassed. $5,000 for 3 months of rent. "The landlord says if we can't pay by Friday, we have to move out." I had said yes without thinking twice. My family's home was more important than my own comfort. The money came from my retirement savings this time. "Mom, you're an angel," Lisa had called to thank me later. "Marcus says you're the most giving person he knows." The most giving person he knew. That's what he said right up until his business started failing in 2022. "The shop is in trouble," he had said over the phone, calling from his office. "We need $6,000 to pay our workers this month. Without them, we'll have to close everything down." I had driven straight to the bank and gotten the cash, watching relief spread across his face like sunshine after a storm. "You always save the day," he had said, shaking my hand gratefully. "I don't deserve a mother-in-law like you." No, he probably didn't deserve me. The worst time was last spring when Lisa got sick and needed surgery. The hospital bill was $15,000 that their insurance wouldn't pay for. I had met Marcus at the hospital money office, taking almost all my remaining savings while Lisa was getting better upstairs. He had cried real tears of thankfulness and shame. "I'll pay you back every single penny," he had whispered. "I promise on my children's lives." But promises are like bubbles. They look pretty for a minute, then they pop and disappear. There were smaller times too. $300 when his paycheck was late. $700 for the electric bill in winter. $400 when their washing machine broke. "Just until next week," he would say. "You know I'm good for it." Over 4 years, all the small favors added up to more than $45,000. I kept track in my mind not because I wanted my money back but because I wanted to remember what family meant to me. Now here he was, yelling about being reliable in front of all these people, acting like I had never done anything good for him, like the birthday cake was the only thing that mattered in the whole world. The memory faded away. I was back in the messy kitchen, facing Marcus's mean stare. "Yes," I said, my voice stronger now. "Let's talk about reliable. Let's talk about who people can really count on." The room went completely quiet. Even Marcus stopped his yelling, feeling that something had changed. I stood up slowly, no longer the sorry old woman who had dropped the cake. The morning had started so nicely. It was a beautiful Saturday in October, and I had driven through the quiet streets to Lisa's house at 10 in the morning. Halloween decorations hung from every house, and the smell of burning leaves drifted through my open car window. Lisa's house looked warm and welcoming from outside. Bright lights shone in the windows, and I could see her moving around inside, getting ready for Emma's party. She met me at the door with a cup of tea and a big smile. "Mom, thank you so much for helping today. Having you here to help with the cake means I can set up everything else without worrying." The kitchen was busy but organized. Party decorations sat in neat piles on the counter, and the ingredients for Emma's unicorn cake were ready to go. "Good morning, Margaret." Marcus appeared in the doorway, his shirt wrinkled and coffee in his hand. His greeting was polite but cold. "Hope nothing goes wrong this time." I ignored his mean comment. "Everything will be perfect. What time do the kids arrive?" 2 o'clock, Lisa answered, pulling party hats from a box. "That gives us plenty of time. The cake needs to be finished by 1:30 so we can put the candles on it." She walked me through everything step by step. Mix the cake batter, pour it into the unicorn-shaped pan, bake for 45 minutes, then let it cool before decorating. I listened carefully, nodding at each step. "Set your phone timer for exactly 30 minutes after you put it in," she said. "Mom, this is really important. Emma has been dreaming about this cake for weeks." I pulled out my phone and set the timer. The battery showed 45%. "Unicorn cake timer," I typed into my phone. Marcus stayed in the kitchen doorway, checking his own phone. "I have some work calls to make, then I need to pick up the party favors. You'll be okay here alone, right?" There it was again, that hint that he didn't trust me disguised as caring. I had been baking cakes since before he was born, but somehow Marcus always found ways to question what I could do. "She'll be fine," Lisa said firmly. "Mom has made more birthday cakes than both of us put together." She was right. 30 years of being a mother had taught me every baking trick, every decoration technique needed for a perfect cake. This unicorn cake would be no different. "I should start blowing up balloons," Lisa continued, tying an apron around her waist. "Mom, you just focus on the cake. Nothing else matters as much as making it perfect." We worked together quietly. Her hands moved quickly through balloon preparation while I mixed the colorful cake batter. These moments reminded me why family was so important. Working together peacefully, sharing the same goal, knowing that we were creating something special together. Marcus came back an hour later, dressed to go out. "Lisa, I'm leaving for the store. Do you need anything while I'm out?" "Just be back by 1:30, she called without looking up from her balloon work. "I want time to get Emma ready before the party starts." He kissed her cheek and went to the garage, leaving us to work in peace. The house felt much calmer without his worried energy. "He's stressed about work," Lisa said quietly, as if she could read my thoughts. "His business isn't doing well. He's worried about making enough money." I nodded, understanding but not excusing his behavior. Money problems were no reason to be mean to family, especially family members who had helped him so many times over the years. By noon, the cake was in the oven and baking perfectly. The kitchen smelled like vanilla and birthday wishes. "I need to run to the party store," Lisa said, untying her apron. "I forgot to buy the special unicorn sprinkles that Emma wanted." She gave me final instructions about the cake timing, then grabbed her purse and keys. "Exactly 30 minutes, Mom. Check it then, and if it's done, take it out to cool." "I will," I promised, walking her to the door. "Take your time. Everything is under control here." The house became quiet after she left. Marcus was still out shopping and I had the place to myself. I sat in the comfortable living room chair, phone close by, feeling happy about the morning's work. This was what made me feel good about life. Being useful, being needed, being part of something important. The cake would be beautiful. The family would gather, and for one afternoon, all the small arguments and money worries would disappear behind shared joy and celebration. I closed my eyes for just a moment, listening to the peaceful quiet of the empty house. 1 o'clock came with afternoon sunlight streaming through the living room windows. I checked the oven one last time. The cake was rising beautifully, turning golden brown exactly as it should. My phone sat on the table beside my chair. 45% battery. Timer set for 1:30. 15 minutes to go. "Mom!" Lisa appeared in the kitchen doorway, purse over her shoulder, shopping list in her hand. "I'm about to leave for the sprinkles. You're absolutely sure about the timing?" "Absolutely." I stood and walked with her to the front door. 15 minutes exactly. "I've got this, honey." She paused at the door, keys jingling in her hand. "You know what? You're the best mother a daughter could ask for. I don't know what I'd do without your help." Her words warmed my heart completely. This was why I put up with Marcus's mean comments, why I kept showing up despite his coldness. Lisa loved me, needed me, trusted me with the most important parts of their family celebrations. "It's my joy," I said simply. "Drive safely." Marcus's car pulled into the driveway just as Lisa drove away. He waved at her through his windshield, then got out, carrying a bag from the party store. "How's everything going in there?" he asked, pointing toward the house. "Perfect. The cake is right on schedule." He nodded, but I saw something in his face. A flicker of doubt, maybe hope that something would go wrong. "Well, I guess we'll see, won't we?" "Yes, we will." I kept my voice calm, refusing to let him upset me. Marcus headed inside, leaving me standing on the front porch. The suburban street was quiet in both directions, most neighbors probably busy with their own Saturday activities. A few cars passed, families heading to their own weekend fun. I went back to my chair in the living room. 1:15 now. 15 minutes until the timer would ring, reminding me to check the cake's progress. Everything was going exactly as planned. The house settled into peaceful afternoon quiet. No TV noise, no talking, just the distant sound of the oven and the occasional creak of the house settling. This was the kind of silence I loved. Purposeful, not lonely. The silence of a woman trusted with important work. Through the kitchen doorway, I could see the oven light glowing steadily. The cake would be developing that perfect golden color by now, rising tall and fluffy while staying tender inside. 45 minutes of careful baking would create the centerpiece everyone was expecting. My phone showed 1:20. 10 more minutes. Marcus moved around upstairs, probably changing clothes or making those work calls he had mentioned. I was grateful he wasn't downstairs. These moments of responsibility felt pure when I didn't have to deal with his doubting comments or barely hidden suspicion about what I could do. The afternoon light began to change, taking on that golden quality that comes in the early afternoon. Soon the house would fill with children's voices, laughter, the sound of party games and birthday songs. Emma would love her unicorn cake. The other kids would ask for seconds. Lisa would help serve everyone. But first I had to keep my promise. 30 minutes exactly, just as Lisa had asked. The timer would ring. I'd check the cake's progress, take it out if it was done, then let it cool before decorating. Simple, straightforward, exactly the kind of task I had been doing successfully for decades. 1:25. 5 more minutes. I leaned back in the comfortable chair, feeling the satisfaction that comes from a job being done right. The morning's work had gone smoothly. The cake was baking perfectly, and in a few hours, the whole family would gather around a table I had helped make special. This was what being reliable looked like. This was what being trustworthy meant. 1:30 approached on the clock across the room. The afternoon warmth filled the living room like a cozy blanket. I had been up since 7 a.m., driving across town, mixing heavy cake batter, standing in the kitchen for hours during the morning preparation. The comfortable chair held my tired body perfectly. My eyes grew heavy. Just a short rest, I told myself. The timer would wake me in 5 minutes. Plenty of time to check the cake, take it out if needed, then start the cooling process. The house hummed quietly around me. Oven working steadily, refrigerator turning on and off. The gentle sounds of a home working exactly as it should. My breathing became deeper. The phone sat safely on the side table. Timer set, everything under control. 1:35 came and went. 1:45 passed silently. My phone battery, which had been slowly draining all morning, finally gave its last bit of power and went completely dark. No timer ring, no vibration, nothing. In the kitchen, the cake continued baking. Golden brown became darker brown. The edges started to burn slightly, and the sweet smell began to change to something less pleasant. 2 o'clock arrived with the first hints of burning smell drifting from the kitchen. The scent started subtle, slightly overcooked cake, a hint of burned edges. By 2:15, gray smoke began to curl from the oven, floating into the living room where I slept peacefully, completely unaware. The unicorn cake changed from birthday dream to disaster. The bottom turned black, the edges cracked and pulled away from the pan. The smoke detector should have made noise, but its battery had died weeks ago. Another small house repair that had been forgotten in the busy rush of daily life. 2:30. The burning smell finally reached my sleeping mind, creeping into dreams that turned dark and scary. Something was wrong. Something was burning. My eyes snapped open. Smoke. Thick, choking smoke filling the living room. The smell hit me like a punch. Burned cake, charred sugar, the unmistakable scent of complete baking disaster. No, 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 no. I jumped from the chair, my legs stiff from sleeping in an awkward position. My phone lay dead on the side table, its screen as black as the smoke swirling through the house. The horrible truth hit me like lightning. How long had I been asleep? The kitchen looked like a battlefield. Smoke poured from the oven, thick enough to make my eyes water and my throat burn. I grabbed oven mitts and pulled open the oven door. Heat blasted my face. More smoke billowed out in choking clouds. Inside, what had once been Emma's beautiful unicorn cake now looked like something from a nightmare. Black, burned, completely ruined. How could I do this? The words stuck in my throat. I pulled the destroyed cake from the oven, setting it on the counter with shaking hands. The unicorn pan was scorched black on the bottom. Cake batter had burned and stuck to the oven floor. The smell was overwhelming. Sharp, bitter, the kind of smoke that would stick in curtains and furniture for weeks. Windows. I needed to open windows right away. Racing through the house, I opened every window I could reach. Cool October air rushed in, but it would take hours to clear the smoke. Hours we didn't have. I grabbed my phone, desperately pressing the power button. Nothing. Completely dead. 2:30. Lisa would be back soon. The party guests would arrive at 2 o'clock. In 30 minutes, the house would fill with excited children expecting a magical birthday celebration. And instead they'd find smoke, destruction, and the burned remains of Emma's dream cake. The cake was beyond saving. No amount of frosting or decorations could hide this level of burning. We needed a replacement immediately. Maybe the bakery would still have unicorn cakes available. Maybe I could drive fast enough to find something, anything to save the party. It was Saturday afternoon, but surely somewhere. Car doors slammed in the driveway. My heart sank. They were back early. Through the front window, I watched Lisa step out of her car, sprinkles bag in hand, her face bright with excitement about the party. Behind her, Marcus got out of his car, followed by 3 other parents and their children, all arriving together 15 minutes early. Their happy voices carried across the lawn until they reached the front porch, then stopped. "Do you smell that?" Lisa's voice came through the door. "Something's burning." I stood frozen in the smoky kitchen, oven mitts still on my hands, the destroyed cake cooling on the counter like evidence of a terrible crime. There was nowhere to hide, no way to make this look better than it was. The front door opened. "Mom," Lisa called out, worry replacing her earlier joy. "What's that smell?" I walked to the kitchen doorway as they all came into the house. Lisa saw my face first. The guilt, the ash stains on my shirt, the defeat written all over me. Her eyes got wide as she took in the cloud of smoke still hanging in the air. "Oh no!" The sprinkles bag fell from her fingers, scattering rainbow colors across the floor. "Mom, what happened?" One of the other mothers appeared behind her, her face showing worry. Another dad pulled his child back a step, both of them staring at the disaster with shocked expressions. Marcus pushed past them all, heading straight for the kitchen. "I fell asleep," I said simply. "My phone died. I'm so sorry." Marcus reached the kitchen first, his face turning pale as he saw the blackened cake. "Jesus Christ, Margaret. Look at this mess." Language. One of the mothers scolded automatically, but her heart wasn't in it. Lisa rushed to the oven, staring at the charred remains of what should have been her daughter's perfect birthday cake. "How long were you asleep? How long was it baking?" "I don't know. An hour, maybe more." The words felt like admitting to a terrible crime. "The battery died. The timer never rang." "An hour." Marcus's voice got higher and more angry. "You overcooked Emma's birthday cake by an hour?" One of the dads stepped forward, practical as always. "Let's open more windows. Get this smoke cleared out." He headed for the dining room windows, another parent following to help. One of the mothers moved to my side, her kind hand touching my arm gently. "Accidents happen, Margaret. Don't be too hard on yourself." But Lisa looked heartbroken, staring at the ruined cake as if it represented something much bigger than just dessert. "The children will be here any minute. What are we going to do?" "I'll drive to the bakery right now," I offered desperately. "Maybe they have something ready-made." "On Saturday afternoon." Marcus laughed meanly. "Everything good has been sold since this morning. There's nothing decent available until Monday." The reality settled over us like the lingering smoke. No cake meant no proper birthday celebration. No proper celebration meant a ruined party for 20 excited children who had been looking forward to this day for weeks. "We could buy ice cream," one of the mothers suggested weakly from the dining room. "Ice cream." Marcus repeated the word like it was poison. "For Emma's 5th birthday party with all her friends coming. Ice cream instead of the unicorn cake she's been dreaming about for months." Lisa sank into a kitchen chair, putting her head in her hands. "I should have stayed home. I should have watched you more carefully before leaving." No, I moved toward her, desperate to take all the blame. This is completely my fault. I promised to watch the cake and I failed. The phone dying is no excuse. I should have set a backup timer. Should have stayed awake. One of the mothers opened more windows while a dad returned from the dining room. Smoke's clearing a little, he reported. House will air out eventually. Eventually doesn't help us right now, Marcus muttered, staring at the blackened cake with disgust. The kitchen became quiet except for the sound of fresh air flowing through open windows. Everyone seemed to be thinking about how big this disaster was. Not just the ruined cake, but the ruined party, the disappointed children, the broken promise. Lisa looked up at me, her eyes bright with tears that hadn't fallen yet. Mom, I know you didn't mean for this to happen. But it did happen, Marcus said quietly. His voice carried a dangerous edge. Controlled anger barely held back, just like I knew it would be. Marcus's face changed completely before my eyes. The polite disappointment melted away, replaced by something darker, more mean. His jaw got tight. His hands curled into fists at his sides. You worthless old woman, the words exploded from him like gunfire. You can't do anything right. One of the mothers stepped backward, her hand flying to her chest. A father grabbed his child's arm protectively. Even Lisa froze, shocked by the poison in her husband's voice. Marcus, please, she started to say. No. He spun around to face her, then back to me. I'm sick of this, Lisa. I'm sick of pretending your mother is some kind of gift when she's nothing but trouble. The kitchen fell silent except for the sound of windows still open, letting in cool October air that couldn't clear the poisonous feeling building between us. Useless, he stepped closer to me, his voice dropping to a threatening growl. Pathetic. Can't be trusted with the simplest job. I stood perfectly still, watching this man show his true self completely. Years of careful politeness, of barely hidden resentment, finally exploding in front of witnesses. Part of me felt almost relieved. The pretending was finally over. That's enough, one of the mothers said firmly, her voice carrying the authority of someone used to handling difficult situations. Marcus, you're going too far. But Marcus was beyond hearing reason. He grabbed the ruined cake from where I had set it on the counter, his face twisting with disgust and rage. This is what we get. He lifted the blackened cake over his head. This is what happens when we trust her with anything important. Don't you dare, I started to say, but it was too late. He threw the cake directly at me. I ducked sideways, the charred cake sailing past my shoulder to explode against the kitchen wall behind me. Burnt cake pieces scattered across the floor. Frosting splattered the cabinets. The impact left a dark stain on the white paint. Marcus! Lisa screamed. What is wrong with you? One of the dads stepped forward, his face dark with disapproval. That's enough, man. Time to calm down. Calm down. Marcus laughed bitterly. This is Emma's birthday, the most important day of the year for a 5-year-old. And she destroyed it. He pointed at me like I was some kind of criminal. Like she destroys everything she touches. One of the mothers covered her mouth with both hands, staring at the cake mess on the wall. Another parent moved protectively toward me, her face showing concern and disgust at Marcus's behavior. I can drive right now, I said quietly, trying to keep what dignity I could while cake frosting dripped down the wall. Maybe find another cake somewhere. With what money? Marcus's voice got even louder. Everything's closed. There's nowhere to go. 20 kids are coming here expecting a party, and you've ruined it completely. He came toward me, backing me toward the kitchen doorway. His face was purple now, veins standing out on his forehead. Spit flew as he shouted. I'm done pretending to be grateful. Done acting like you're helpful when all you do is cause problems. You can't be relied on for anything. There it was, the accusation that hurt the most. The one that showed everything I had suspected about his true feelings. All those years of financial help. All those times he had called me reliable, dependable, his lifesaver. All of it lies. Get out! He was screaming now, loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. This is my house, my family. I don't want your pathetic help anymore. The living room was behind me. More space but also more formal. The heart of their home, where family pictures sat on shelves, where Christmas mornings happened, where grandchildren played. Now it would become a place of fighting. Marcus, stop this, Lisa begged, grabbing his arm. He shook her off roughly. If you don't leave right now, he snarled, stepping so close I could smell coffee on his breath. I'll make you leave. I backed into the living room, Marcus following like a predator hunting wounded prey. The other parents followed reluctantly. Lisa wringing her hands, one mother clutching another's arm, a dad positioning himself strategically between us. This is my house, Marcus shouted, gesturing wildly at the family photos on the shelves. My family. I don't want to see your pathetic face in here anymore. The living room felt different now, ruined. This space where children had opened Christmas presents, where birthday parties had been celebrated, where family had gathered for countless happy times, now witnessed something ugly and permanent. Whoa there, Marcus. One of the dads stepped directly between us, hands raised peacefully but firmly. This is Lisa's mother we're talking about. Your children's grandmother. Grandmother. Marcus laughed bitterly. What kind of grandmother ruins her own granddaughter's birthday party? What kind of person falls asleep when people are counting on her? One of the mothers found her voice, sharp with moral disapproval. Marcus Thompson, you're acting like a child having a tantrum. This is not who your wife married. Oh, you want to know who she married? Marcus's eyes glittered dangerously. She married someone who's tired of cleaning up after this old woman's mistakes. Last Christmas, she forgot to bring the dessert. Easter, the flowers she was supposed to arrange never showed up. My birthday dinner, she was 2 hours late. Stop it, Lisa whispered, tears starting to fall. Just stop. But Marcus was building momentum, years of complaints pouring out like infected wounds finally bursting. He pointed at me accusingly, his finger jabbing dangerously close to my face. Every single time we trust her with anything important, disaster. And I'm supposed to be grateful. I'm supposed to pretend she's helping when she's just making everything worse. I stayed silent, watching him expose himself completely. Every word revealed more about his character than mine. The other parents were seeing it too. The dad's face growing darker, the mothers shaking their heads sadly. One parent looking genuinely frightened. Someone needs to teach her there are consequences for her actions. Marcus stepped closer, invading my personal space. Maybe I should show you what useless really means, old woman. That's enough. One of the dads moved between us completely, his broad shoulders blocking Marcus's approach. You're talking about getting physical with a 64-year-old woman in front of parents and children on a Saturday afternoon. Marcus's face twisted with frustrated rage. Move aside, Jim. This doesn't concern you. It concerns all of us now, one of the mothers said coldly. Because you've made it concern us. This is family business, and family doesn't treat family like this. Family. Marcus's voice cracked. What has she ever done for this family except cause problems? She's a burden, a liability. We'd be better off without her. Marcus. Lisa's voice cut through his rant like a whip. Enough. You're talking about my mother. He whirled to face her, eyes wild with rage and frustration. Your mother who just ruined Emma's birthday. Your mother who can't be trusted with the simplest job. When are you going to see her for what she really is? The room fell silent except for Lisa's quiet crying. This wasn't just about a burned cake anymore. This was about respect, family bonds, basic values being shattered in front of everyone. What she really is. I said quietly, my voice cutting through the tension. Everyone turned to look at me. I straightened to my full height, meeting Marcus's furious gaze directly. You want to talk about what someone really is, Marcus? My voice carried a new edge, strength that had been built through years of suppressed frustration. Let's talk about reliability. Let's talk about who can really be counted on. The room went completely quiet. Even Marcus stopped his ranting, sensing the shift in the air. I stepped forward, no longer the apologetic old woman who had burned the cake. Years of patience had reached their end. You say I'm unreliable. My voice carried new authority. That nobody can count on me. Then explain something to me, Marcus. One of the dads stepped aside slightly, recognizing that this confrontation had moved beyond physical threat into something deeper. The mothers and other parent leaned forward, sensing crucial information about to be revealed. If I'm so unreliable, I continued, meeting his eyes directly, why did you count on me so many times? Marcus's face flickered with the first hint of uncertainty. What are you talking about? March 2020. My voice grew stronger. $8,000 for your car loan. You came to my house desperate. The bank had refused you. You were crying, Marcus. Actual tears. Lisa's head snapped up, her eyes widening. She had known about some help, but not the details. You swore you'd pay me back as soon as your business picked up. You said I was saving your family's transportation. Do you remember that conversation? The color began draining from Marcus's face. That's different. Different how? Press. June 2021. $5,000 for 3 months of rent. You called me from your office, panicking because the landlord was threatening eviction. I used money from my retirement account, Marcus. My retirement? One of the mothers gasped softly. The other parents' eyes narrowed as they began understanding the full picture. You promised to pay me back with interest, I continued relentlessly. Said I was the most generous person you knew. Were you lying then, or are you lying now? Stop, Marcus whispered, but I was far from finished. August 2022. $6,000 when your business was failing. I drove straight to the bank and got cash while you waited. You said I always came through. You said you didn't deserve a mother-in-law like me. Lisa stood frozen, pieces clicking together in her mind. The other parents exchanged meaningful glances, the financial pattern becoming clear. Last spring, I said, my voice growing quieter but more powerful. $15,000 for medical bills your insurance wouldn't cover. I met you at the hospital billing office while Lisa was recovering upstairs. You cried again, Marcus. Swore on your children's lives you'd pay me back. The room was utterly silent now. Everyone staring at Marcus, whose aggressive posture had collapsed into something smaller, cornered. Should I continue? Yes. The $300 for groceries when your paycheck was late. The $700 for utility bills. The $400 when the refrigerator broke down. All those small favors that you promised were just until payday. One of the mother's face showed complete understanding now. Another dad shook his head slowly, disapproval written across his features. $42,000, Marcus. The number hung in the air like an accusation. Over 4 years. Every time you needed help, every time you were desperate, who did you call? Who was reliable then? Marcus opened his mouth, but no words came out. How much have you paid back? Yes. Not 1 penny. How many times have you said thank you? I'm still waiting. I stepped closer to him now, the power completely reversed. So tell me again about reliability, Marcus. Tell me again who can't be counted on. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been counting on this worthless old woman to save you over and over again. The truth settled over the room like a heavy blanket. Lisa stared at her husband with new eyes. The other parents looked at Marcus with open judgment. And now, I said softly, now you want to throw me out of your house. The house I helped you keep. The silence stretched for long moments. Marcus's face cycled through emotions. Shock, denial, rage, then something darker. Desperation. His hands trembled at his sides, his breath coming in short gasps. You think you've won. His voice cracked. You think you can humiliate me in my own house? Marcus, please. Lisa reached toward him, but he jerked away violently. No. I'll show you who's worthless. He lunged at me with surprising speed. I stepped back quickly, hands rising defensively, but his momentum carried him forward. His fist swung toward my face, missing by inches as I ducked sideways. "Stop!" Lisa screamed. One of the mothers gasped, pressing back against the wall. Another parent grabbed a dad's arm as he stepped forward, ready to intervene. Marcus stumbled past me, spinning around with wild eyes. "Fight me, old woman. Let's see how reliable you are when it counts." "I'm not fighting you," I said calmly, continuing to back away. "You're upset. We can talk about this." "Talk." He swung again, this time catching my shoulder with a glancing blow that sent me stumbling toward the dining room. "I'm done talking. Done pretending you matter." The coffee table caught my legs. I went down hard, Marcus looming over me with raised fists. One of the dads rushed forward, grabbing Marcus's arms from behind. "That's enough." His voice boomed with authority. "You've lost your mind." Marcus struggled against his grip, elbowing backward, trying to break free. "Let me go. She destroyed my life. She destroyed everything." "Get back." One of the mothers shepherded the other parents toward the front door. "He's completely lost control." I rolled away from the coffee table, getting to my feet carefully. My shoulder throbbed where Marcus's fist had connected, but nothing felt broken. Around us, the living room had transformed into chaos. Overturned magazines, a lamp knocked askew. The comfortable family space now a crime scene. "You ruined my marriage," Marcus screamed, still fighting the dad's restraint. "Turned my wife against me, made me look like a fool." "You did that yourself," I said quietly, backing toward the kitchen. He broke free with a surge of desperate strength, charging after me again. "I'll kill you. Do you hear me? I'll kill you for this." The kitchen loomed behind me, knife block on the counter. Dangerous territory. Marcus's eyes fixed on the same target. His face twisted with murderous rage. "Marcus, there are children in this neighborhood," Lisa pleaded, tears streaming down her face. "What's wrong with you?" The dad grabbed him again, this time getting a better hold. "Friend or not, I won't let you hurt an innocent woman." I reached the counter, my hand finding my phone where I had left it hours ago. The screen showed just enough battery for what I needed to do. This had gone beyond family dispute into genuine violence. "She's not innocent," Marcus writhed against the dad's grip. "She's a manipulator, a user. She planned this whole thing. Planned burning the cake." One of the mothers called from the doorway. "Planned you losing your temper. Listen to yourself." My fingers found 911 on the keypad. 3 simple numbers that would bring official help, formal consequences. An end to this nightmare. "What are you doing?" Marcus's eyes fixed on my phone with panic. "Put that down." 911, what's your emergency? The operator's voice came through clearly. "I need police at 847 Oak Street," I said calmly, despite the chaos around me. "Domestic violence. My son-in-law is attacking me. There are witnesses." "No." Marcus's scream echoed through the house. 5 minutes felt like hours. The dad kept Marcus pinned against the kitchen counter while I stayed on the line with dispatch. Lisa paced the living room, wringing her hands. The other parents huddled near the front window, watching for squad cars. "I can see them coming," one of the mothers announced. Red and blue lights flashed across the house, painting the birthday decorations in official colors. Car doors slammed. Heavy footsteps approached the front door. "Police department, open up." One of the parents unlocked the door quickly. 2 officers stepped inside. A tall woman with brown hair and a younger man built like an athlete. Their eyes swept the scene professionally. Overturned furniture, frightened family members, obvious signs of struggle. "I'm Officer Johnson," the woman said. "Who called 911? I raised my hand. "Margaret Stevens. That's my son-in-law there. He physically attacked me after a family argument." "Is anyone injured?" Officer Johnson approached me, noting my torn shirt and the red mark on my shoulder. Minor bruising, nothing requiring medical attention. The male officer moved toward the dad and Marcus. "Sir, I need you to step away from him." The dad released his grip reluctantly. "Officer, this man attacked his elderly mother-in-law. I had to restrain him to prevent serious injury." Marcus straightened his clothing, trying to regain composure. "This is all a misunderstanding. Family disagreement that got out of hand. Attempted assault isn't a misunderstanding," Johnson said firmly. He turned to me. "Tell me exactly what happened." I spoke calmly, methodically. "We had a disagreement about a ruined birthday cake. I revealed that my son-in-law owes me over $42,000 in unpaid loans. He became enraged and physically attacked me, threatening to kill me. These family members witnessed everything." Johnson took notes while scanning the room. "How many witnesses?" "4. The dad stepped forward. "I'm Jim Martinez, a family friend. I watched Marcus throw food, then lunge at Margaret with intent to cause harm." One of the mothers found her voice. "I'm Carol White, another parent. I saw the entire incident. Marcus completely lost control." The other parent nodded agreement. David Chen. "The violence started after Margaret mentioned money Marcus borrowed but never repaid." The second officer approached Lisa, who stood torn between loyalty and truth. "Ma'am, you witnessed this incident." She looked at her husband, then her mother, tears flowing freely. "Yes, my husband attacked my mother. Threatened to hurt her. I've never seen him like this before." Marcus's face crumpled as his wife's testimony sealed his fate. "Lisa, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly," she said quietly. "My mother has been supporting our family for years, and you repaid her kindness with violence." Officer Johnson addressed the room. "I need to speak with each witness separately. But first," she turned to Marcus. "Sir, based on multiple witness statements, I'm placing you under citation for domestic assault." "This is ridiculous," Marcus protested. "She provoked me, humiliated me in front of everyone. Emotional provocation doesn't justify physical violence," Johnson replied firmly. She produced a citation book. "You have the right to contest this in court, but the evidence and witness testimony are clear." The younger officer photographed the overturned furniture, my torn shirt, the evidence of struggle throughout the living room and kitchen. "What happens now?" Lisa asked quietly. "Your husband receives an official citation. If he commits any further acts of violence or harassment against Mrs. Stevens, he'll face arrest and formal charges. This incident is now part of the official record." I watched Marcus's face as the reality settled in. Official consequences, legal documentation. No longer just family business but criminal behavior on his permanent record. Johnson handed me a card. "Mrs. Stevens, you have the right to pursue a restraining order if you feel unsafe. Given the age difference and violent threats, the court would likely approve protective measures." "That won't be necessary," I said, meeting Marcus's eyes. "As long as this behavior never happens again." The officer completed her paperwork while family members processed what had just occurred. Official intervention, truth documented. Justice served through proper channels. "We're finished here," Johnson announced. "Mr. Thompson, any future incidents will result in immediate arrest. The citation requires a court appearance within 30 days. As the officers prepared to leave, Marcus stood isolated in his own kitchen, facing the consequences of 4 years of ingratitude, culminating in violence. The police cars pulled away, leaving the family in stunned silence. Marcus stood alone by the kitchen counter, the citation clutched in his trembling hand. The official document represented more than legal consequences. It marked the complete collapse of his victim story. "Mom," Lisa approached me carefully, her voice thick with emotion. "I had no idea how much you've sacrificed for us. $42,000, and I never even knew." One of the mothers placed her weathered hand on my arm. Margaret, you handled this entire situation with such grace. A lesser person would have pressed full charges. Jim nodded approvingly. You're a better person than I would have been in your position, showing mercy after what he put you through. Carol wiped tears from her eyes. The way you stayed calm during that attack, that shows real character. I looked around the room at the overturned furniture, the remnants of our ruined party, the family members who now understood the complete truth. Despite everything, we were still together. What matters is keeping our family intact, I said simply. Marcus made mistakes, but destroying him won't solve anything. Marcus finally found his voice, barely above a whisper. I don't know how to repay you. The money, yes, but also. He gestured helplessly at the chaos around us. What I've done. You can start by acknowledging the truth, I replied. And by making sure this violence never happens again. Lisa moved to stand beside me, her choice clear. Mom, I'm so sorry. I should have seen what was happening. Should have recognized how much you were giving. You have your own family to worry about, I assured her. That's how it should be. Jim surveyed the disheveled living room. Well, we still have a birthday party to figure out. Can't let one man's tantrum ruin Emma's whole day. Carol smiled for the first time in hours. I know a bakery that does emergency deliveries. Expensive, but worth it under the circumstances. I'll pay for it, Marcus said quickly, then caught himself. I mean, if I can use a credit card since I don't actually have cash available. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. David actually chuckled. At least you're being honest now. Within an hour, the house had been straightened, the furniture rearranged, and delivery drivers had brought a beautiful unicorn cake and party supplies. Emma's friends arrived to find a celebration that looked perfect, never knowing how close it had come to disaster. As we gathered around the dining room table, watching Emma blow out her candles, the family looked different than it had that morning. Relationships had shifted. Truth had been revealed. Consequences had been faced. But we were still family. I'd like to say something, Lisa announced, raising her juice glass. Today I learned that my mother is not just reliable. She's extraordinary. Her generosity, her patience, her dignity under pressure. Mom, thank you for everything you've sacrificed for us. To Margaret, Carol added, lifting her glass. The most generous woman any of us know. Jim joined the toast. To integrity and family. Even Marcus raised his glass, though his voice cracked as he spoke. To second chances, and to the woman who gave me more of them than I deserved. As we began eating the bakery cake, I felt a satisfaction deeper than any cake I'd ever baked could have provided. Not because I'd won some battle, but because truth had prevailed. Justice had been served, not through revenge, but through consequences and recognition. The store-bought unicorn cake tasted perfect. Around the table sat family members who now understood the real meaning of gratitude, sacrifice, and reliability. Sometimes the most important victories aren't the ones where you defeat your enemies, but the ones where you maintain your character while the truth reveals itself. I was still the woman who'd burned the birthday cake. But I was also the woman who'd kept her family together through crisis, maintained her dignity under attack, and chosen mercy when justice was in her power. That felt like the most reliable thing I'd ever done. Emma looked up at me with frosting on her nose and said, "Grandma, this is the best birthday ever." And you know what? Despite everything that had happened, despite the burned cake and the fighting and the police, she was right. Because sometimes the best birthdays aren't the ones where everything goes perfectly. They're the ones where family comes together, truth wins out, and love proves stronger than anger. If you enjoyed this story from Granny's voice, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts about this story in the comments. To listen to another story, click on the video suggestion. Thank you for watching Granny's Voice.